Too much of something can be overwhelming, but with a good solution, a happy ending it will bring. Book 22, When Life Gives You Too Much Rain, Open a BakeRAY. It continued raining for several days more. Mostly it was light and steady, but sometimes it would pour. Until the rain stopped, the sinkhole couldn't be repaired. Many of the townsfolk stopped by to offer help and show they cared. School was back in session, but it was hard to concentrate. Our town was in disaster, and all we could do was wait. We knew eventually the rain would stop and the floodwaters would recede. Once again, Kaylin had a brilliant idea for us to do a good deed. There is an orchard in our town filled with rows of fruit trees. With so much rain it was full of water and looked like the seas. The farmers were in a panic. Their crops might be destroyed. When they heard Kaylin's plan, they were purely overjoyed. If the farmers borrowed rowboats from the fishermen at the lake, they could sail around the trees and pick the fruit with a rake. The fishermen delivered the boats that day during school. Principal Wellen let us leave early. She is really cool. First stop, Big Red Doghouse, to hitch each pet to their cart. Each one of us, including the pets, plays a very important part. When you put us all together, said Kaylin, we're like slices in a pie. I'll explain that later, she replied, with a sparkle in her eye. When we arrived at the orchard, it was still early in the day. The sun was behind the clouds, so the sky was dark and gray. The farmers stood ready in their rain hats, boots, and coats. They waded out in the water and hopped into the waiting boats. First, the farmers hooked up nets underneath the trees to catch the fruits that may fall down if they get an extra squeeze. The modern way to pick fruit is by machines that drop them in a tray. But today, with the flood, the farmers have to pick the old-fashioned way. The first boat was rowing in, piled high with ripe fruits. Kaylin yelled, "Get your pails and put on your rubber boots." As they stood knee-deep in water, they picked fruit out of the nets. Then they carried pailfuls to the carts of the nearby pets. We continued in this manner as the boats went back and forth. The orchard was really big, a mile deep towards the north. We were all exhausted as we looked up at the night sky. We hadn't realized it stopped raining and the ground was getting dry. We all looked over at Kaylin as she was jumping up and down. "Hurry," she said. "We have to get this fruit into town." We had no idea what she meant, but she had that sparkle in her eye. It was tough keeping up with her, no matter how hard we did try. When we got to town, the shops were dark, except for Harry's Deli. "Why's my dad's store open?" Wes said. Then we caught sight of Ellie. Jess asked, "What's my mom doing standing near the door?" "This way, kids," called Ellie. "Bring that fruit quickly in the store." When we got inside, Kaylin finally got her chance to explain. "All this fruit is still quite edible in spite of all the rain. Remember when that dumpster was filled with fruit in the marketplace? If most of it got stored properly, it wouldn't have gone to waste." Then Ellie said, "I've worked it out with Wes's dad to store the fruit until—" We all looked up as she pointed to a sign in the windowsill. It read, "Coming soon, Ellie's BakeRAY." We could hardly believe our eyes. With a big smile, Ellie said, "It was supposed to be a surprise." We all gave Ellie a great big hug and the pets wagged their tails. Then she opened the big refrigerator door saying, "Please carry in the pails." "You all worked hard. Go home and get some rest," she said with a sigh. "Come back in the morning and I will bake a delicious fresh fruit pie." To be continued.